think I don't know how to.
What is the first one that comes to your mind? The easiest one. Don't make it too hard. You're thinking too much.
I think I'm on the right path to reach my happiness.
Yes.
But I am impatient.
Yeah.
And so when I make a move that I think is right for me, I'm ready to receive the next bit.
Yes. And we would like to tell you, perhaps take some time and savor your manifestations, you see? Perhaps you manifest something, and instead of jumping to the next thing like it's a checkbox that you have to get through in your lifetime, understand that you maybe not have to get it all done in this life. You've had multiple lifetimes to get things done. And yet each lifetime, when you're in spirit form, you don't say, I didn't get my list done. Oh well, you're going to be joyful regardless, you see. And so the trick is, we want you to pretend you have everything you've ever wanted right now. How would that make you feel? Probably too much, yes? Your head would explode? It's too much. This is the only reason you don't get everything you want, you see. When you're out of a body, you can handle it a little better because you're pure energy. But when you're in your body, if you got everything you needed at the same time, then you'd be kind of bored too, because you'd have it like a big, in Christmas, all your gifts would be piled high, and you're like, now what do I do with myself, you see? And so the trick is savor it like a piece of chocolate. You see, earlier in her life, Michelle would get some chocolate and she'd want to eat it because it tasted so good, and she just wanted more and more and more and more and more. And she learned to take a little bit and savor it and be grateful for it and enjoy it. Because that is like the manifestations of your life, you see. So rather than jumping and racing ahead to the next big thing that you're supposed to do, you don't have to do anything. You can choose to be happy right now. The truth of who you are is happiness. We want you to hear that. You don't seek happiness, or you will forever be seeking it. Do you understand? When you unzip your body, as we have instructed, what are you? You are love, you are happiness. They are the same thing. So you seek out the things that give you pleasure. There's a difference, yes? So the pleasures are temporary. We're not saying they're bad. It's just like a piece of chocolate. Eventually it melts and goes away. And yet you can still savor it and remember and cherish. Use your memory. Use all your senses to remember what it's like. You see, Michelle and Jodo are doing that right now. Well, Michelle is, we only speak for her because we're in her head all the time. But when she was in Cancun, and she wanted to hold on to every memory because it was so wonderful. She kept trying to grasp it. And she's snorkeling and looking at the fishes, and they're so colorful. And she's like, I want this moment to go on forever. You cannot do that with your time and the way that you do it. You see, it's a beautiful memory. You can take snapshots of it. You take little snapshots of your manifestations. You say, isn't that wonderful? So when you are feeling a little unraveled, yes, or frustrated, as Jota says, then perhaps you go back to that memory and say, yeah, I did that. I created that, and I can create more of that. More of that, more of that, more of that. And so eventually you become so joyful that you want to give it out. It is like when Jota fills up the hot tub full of water, it can only fill up so much, yes? And then it spills over. And so we want you to learn how to gather so many pleasurable experiences that it builds up like a fountain and it overflows to everyone, so they understand and see that that can be so. And yet, there is no such thing as time. So it's not a race, you see. It's never a race. We think it is amusing that tonight you set the clocks back as if time is something that you can arrange. You see, there is no such thing as time. There is no such thing as space. It is all man-made and created. And so, as you wake up each morning, you ask, as Michelle just told the crowd, what would make life more wonderful today? Don't get ahead of yourself. Too often you say it is as if it's an entire lifetime, you see. What would be more wonderful when I'm 95? Don't go there yet. What would make life wonderful today? Because often that is something quite small, yes? Often it is, today was a beautiful weather day, yes? And so perhaps today it was just enjoying the ride here. That is a beautiful, cherishable memory, yes? And so too often your teachers say, yes, focus on the journey. And we will say that too, but see, it's all a big journey. And so there's no end result. Too often you think, but I have to get it done in this lifetime. Okay, so you go to the next lifetime and you do it all over again. Or you keep going higher and higher in spirit form where you can manifest at will without getting in your own way. You see, it's just much slower here, but that is all relative, yes? Slower how? The more you manifest, the faster it gets. And yet, savor it, savor it, savor it. Imagine the piece of chocolate or something else that you like to put on your tongue, that you like to take your time with, perhaps a cup of tea or coffee, whatever it is that uses your senses, you see. Because we want you to think about this, when you're in body form, that's when you have senses, and we've said this before, when you don't have a body, you are nothing but intuition. It's all you are. And so, take the body out of it. Yes, use your senses. Become more alive in the moment. Savor all your experiences. And then, beyond that, allow your intuition to guide you to where you wish to be. When you hear the little voice, like Michelle did, that says, walk the dog a little further, you don't say, no, I'm tired today. You walk the dog a little further, and then life is full of surprises, happy surprises, miracles as you call them. But they're not miracles when they happen all the time. You think of miracles as just a one-time event that may or may not happen a handful of times in your entire lifetime. We want you to live daily miracles. That is your purpose for living, is to love, to create miracles, to create magic. How fun is that? Yes? And so don't be such a check-off person, yes? We see you make a list, and then you make a list of the list, yes? We see like a list on top of your head. And the children does the same thing, yes? It's like Excel spreadsheets. And that is okay, and it feels good for you, and it makes you feel organized, yes? And we are here to say that perhaps for a day, try putting the list aside and just being fully in the moment. Embracing the beauty of the hotel. Look around you. You see, pretend you are always on vacation. What if you lived like you were traveling? When you are traveling, when you are wandering, you're not worried about the emails you need to answer so much. You're not worried about the housework or about all the things you feel like you have to do. Yes, we're not saying to be completely irresponsible. You all love that word, responsibility. And yet that is something that formed later in life. When you were a child, you didn't have responsibilities, yes? Live from that state of mind. Take care of business, and yet pretend like everything around you is a giant vacation. When you're on vacation, you say, where are we going to eat? What are we going to do today? Do you do that in your everyday life? Not so much. You say, I have to go to work today, then I need to defrost something and eat it before I go to sleep tonight. Your life is meant to be much bigger than that. So pretend. Pretend away. We say this all the time. Are you pretending? Are you pretending? Pretending's so fun. Be like a little child and pretend until it comes into form. That's all manifesting is pretending, watching it come in. It's a game. And if it's a game, you don't take it so seriously. You don't wait around going, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? That makes it not so much fun, yes? You just live in a state of wonderment, and then when it does show up, you go, oh, that dress fits perfectly, and it's only $20. And it doesn't have to be a dress. It can be whatever it is you want to show up in your life that gives you momentary pleasure. And then you savor it, and you just savor it. You just be. Stop being in a place of what do I need to do. You don't need to do anything ever. Ever. Isn't that liberating? You never have to do anything. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. When you start to get into that state where I have to do this, take a break from it. Rest, meditate, go for a swim, go for a hike. Do something that gets you out of your head and out of your brain. We are not saying to never think. We sometimes get accused of that. Your brain is just a tool, just like a computer. You input what you want it to do, yes? It is just a tool. And yet, if you lived in a state of wonderment, and you allow the power to run through you, there's a powerful force that creates in this universe. You see, that's why we call ourselves the power of 10. It is both the power of us coming together as 10 souls united on a mission to teach you, to propel you forward in evolution. And yet, it is also the power of the force of the universe, of ever-expanding, unlimited love running through you. What if you opened up to that every day? Would you think, oh, what do I do now? Not so much. And so you think bigger. Allow your mind to work for you, not to rule you, you see. Oh, you're so welcome. Do you want the hug?